Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, yes, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you the countdown live, episode number 104. That's right, guys. Again, just to remind you guys, the countdown is live now each and every week. Around 1:30 to 1:45-ish. That's about the time that I will be doing this live show. And this is the show where me, Mike Spider Slayer, counts down his least favorite book of the week and goes all the way down to that, or all the way up to that number one spot, while taking everyone's comments and questions and their opinions along the way. And as this show goes along in the future, from maybe week to week or every other week or so often, I'm going to have a co-host on here, and they will hopefully have some comics that they have discussed or read or whatnot. And even if they don't do a countdown, that's okay. We can talk a little bit about the comics. So it throws things, makes things fresh every once in a while, and that's what I'm trying to do. I do have a list of names that I have received already for people that want to be a co-host on that show, and I think it will be a lot of fun. It'll be a great time. So with that being said, let's get started with this week's countdown. We have a total of 14 comics all together right now, and Secret Wars continues to be amongst the group of comics, and then we also have some DC titles that were released as well this week too. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything this week, and hopefully you guys will too. So hopefully we'll get some viewers jumped on in here, and hopefully I'll get this this live show up on here on the feed as well, going in here too. So all right. So first things first, we're going to talk about our number 14 book of the week, and number 14 was Harley Quinn and Power Girl, issue number 1. That's right, guys. This book for me was a little bit rough. It didn't flow properly. I thought that for a number 1 issue, this was a little bit difficult to get all a hold of. It didn't feel like a true number 1 to me. It was Harley and Power Girl already had this type of relationship together, and it just wasn't a true definition of a number 1 book for me. That's where I felt this book was. Now, the one thing that was good about this issue was the artwork. I thought the artwork was nice. It was colorful. Some of the pictures were laid out properly, and it was just good facial expressions and nice action throughout the book. You can see there Power Girl and Harley Quinn with some over-exaggerated guns. I thought that was pretty badass to see that as well. And it was good visually, but story-wise, it kind of just it was all over the place for me. And again, it didn't feel like a true number 1. A true number 1 for me when it comes to Harley Quinn and Power Girl would having these two meet together for the very first time. And that's how I wish this book would have happened, and it didn't happen that way. It was like you had to read previous issues of Harley Quinn to understand really what was going on in this particular book. And so it kind of just it just kind of upset me that I didn't get what I really wanted here. So hopefully future issues will improve. I might give it another try, but I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. So we'll see where this one goes. All right. So that was number 14 on this week's list. And with that being said, I got a couple of viewers on right now that finally just showed up. So we're going to see if my video is showing up now. And it is. And so I have one comment, and it's Michael Martin, and otherwise known as Toxic Tattoo. He goes, I love this book. It was fun. It felt like a spin-off because of Harley Quinn number 11. And I can totally understand that. I totally get where he's coming from with that. Just my issue with it, if you didn't read Harley Quinn, those previous issues, you wouldn't feel like it was a true number 1 there. So, but if you did read the previous issues of Harley Quinn, then I think that you would really enjoy this. That's why I gave it a 3 stars, because of really that reason there. Just because, like I just said, it was one of those things that if you read it and you know what's going on with Harley Quinn, you're gonna enjoy it. And the character was there. Harley Quinn was all there. You know, Power Girl was good. The chemistry between those characters were funny at times. But for me, I just felt it was a little bit too far out there. So that's why I got number 14 on the list. But nevertheless, it was still a 3-star book. Not bad in any means. So, all right. So we're going to move on to number 13. And number 13, and maybe I swap these two in this one, because this one was Squadron Sinister issue number 1. This was another Secret Wars tie-in this week. This issue here was really confusing for me, just because we're dealing with Hyperion, which is in this issue, but there's all these other different, I guess, teams or characters in here. And what the book did was it really threw you into a cast of characters that if you're not familiar with, and being thrown into Battle World on how everybody is different here, it's going to confuse you, and it's going to make this whole jumbled up mess. The one thing that was good about this series was phenomenal artwork. I thought the artwork was really well done in here. Layouts, of course, were good. Paneling was nice. I loved Hyperion's interactions in here with some people, where he just rips off some guys, both of his arms in this one issue. And then we find out there was the Thor of this domain. It was coming to figure out what was going on. I guess there was this crime or something was going on. And then what happens at the end of the issue is he winds up getting killed as he was making out, while Hyperion was making out with his girlfriend there. I forgot her name. I think it was the warrior woman or whatnot. And they wound up getting this big gaping hole in the Iron Man's Thor's chest. And I was like, whoa, damn. And if you read Secret Wars, Armor Wars, kind of the same things going on in that series too. And so I was like, wow, that seems kind of interesting there. I'm not sure what to expect. But then you get this whole other story going on in here. And so I thought that this was just, there was too much going on with just too many characters. And being that this is a number 1 issue, I felt that they tried to just jam so much into this issue, where I was just like, wow, this is going way over my head in this particular book. And it just wasn't kind of like my taste in here. And we just find out that the warrior woman is like a traitor in the whole midst of things. So I guess if, you know, this might be a little bit overwhelming for the average reader, and I read a lot of comics, and this was overwhelming for me, and I just didn't get all the characters and everything that was going on in this particular issue. So same thing, I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't my taste of book. So yeah, so that one got number 13 on my list. Now, I have been reading every Secret Wars book, and I plan to read all of the Secret Wars tie-ins, regardless if they're good or not, because I definitely want to see, you know, how everything turns out, and I want to get the full effect of the Marvel universe when it starts new. So at least I have somewhat of an idea, even if I don't get all the stories here. So, all right. So right now I got 3 comments, but only 1 has loaded. So give the comments some time to show up, and then again, I'll get to your guys' questions as we go along. So, and right now I have 4 viewers, and I want to thank you guys for watching and tuning in. And hopefully each and every Monday afternoon, the show will continue to grow. And again, guys, leave me any comments that you want on any of the comics that I'm talking about today. If you like, dislike, I will try to get to all of you guys and give shout outs to all. All right, so next we're going to go on to our number 12 comic of the week. Number 12 was Robin, Son of Batman, issue number 1. I thought this book was good. However, I'm so used to reading Batman and Robin that without Batman, this book is missing an element to it. And I love the interactions of Damian with his father. And this book, for me, didn't feel quite the same when he was just in it by himself. We get to see Damian in this issue go and rescue Goliath in here, and we get to see him meet up with this king, and he says that that Damian should be his son. And Damian at first is just sitting there going, well, I'm the son of Batman, you know, and he's just like, and he goes ape shit and he knocks the king out. And I thought that was pretty badass. It was like a good interaction of kind of who Damian is. You know, he's himself, he's a rebel, he's by himself now. He has no father. And throughout this issue, you wind up seeing this enemy emerge. That's I guess the daughter of one particular other enemy that happened in the past. And then you also get to see Damian go and rescue Goliath. And what happens is Goliath takes him way high up in the sky, and he winds up going so high in the atmosphere that Damian can't breathe. And so what happens now is you get to witness like these flashbacks and things that Damian saw when he was in Apocalypse. And I thought that was kind of cool because you never saw that as a reader of what he witnessed. So it was cool to see kind of these demons within him of what he experienced. And then he wakes up, and then you find out that you know, he kind of has this epiphany and he has to do what he's got to do. And it's called what was it, Year of the Blood or something? That was the name of the title. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, Year of Blood. So, and we feel now that we have to see what Damian has to do throughout the series now, what his goal is. And at the end of it, it looks like you run into Talia. I think that was her here. I don't have the rich DC history as maybe a lot of you do out there, because I've always read Marvel comics in the past. And when I restarted collecting comics in 2008, I just recently started reading DC comics. So I don't have that huge history. I only read like Green Lantern and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure this is Talia from the way I read it. And then we get to see this symbol that's on the glove here. So I'm not sure who that was. And then basically that's your cliffhanger at the end of the issue. I like the story. It was pretty good. Again, for me, I'd rather see a Batman and Robin title. Now, you can't have that because supposedly Batman's dead. We have Commissioner Gordon, who's in the Batmech suit. And so we just have to deal with Damian now. And I thought it was okay. I mean, it was nothing that blew me out of the water. It was better than these last two issues. I thought it had good artwork. It was good character interactions. We get to see a villain that's a mysterious villain in here. And yeah, so it was okay. I mean, I thought it was pretty solid. So I'm going to give this one a 3.25 out of 5 stars. It was just above average for me. So you guys tell me in the comments as we're talking here, Robin, son of Batman, what did you guys think of this one? Were you on board with this one? All right, so that was number 12. And we'll go back to comments and see what you guys have said here. All right, let's load them back up and hopefully something comes on. So now we have 5 comments. All right, so we got them loading now. Okay, good. So first off, we have Michael Martin says, Squadron Sinister had me a bit lost. I don't know these characters. I had to read it twice and still not that into it. Okay, so I mean, that honestly makes me feel better that, you know, you're not the only one. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm an idiot when I read these comics and I don't get what's going on. I'm not too familiar with all the characters that were in here too, so I guess I'm not the only one, you know, that has this thought about, you know, Squadron Sinister. And Affy, if I said that wrong, I'm sorry. It goes, yep, I agree. Without Batman, Damian is less interesting. Yep, and that is correct. So, and let's see. And then we have what is your opinion about the Superman truth story so far? We'll get to that. It is in my countdown this week, so we'll talk about that truth storyline. All right, so we'll go on now, and we'll go on to number 11. And number 11 goes to Wonder Woman, issue number 41. In this book, we get to witness Wonder Woman go from girl to woman, and that's why she wears the threads that she's wearing right now. This book is written by David Finch and I'm sorry, drawn by David Finch and written by Meredith Finch. If you love David Finch's art, you're going to love the way this book looks. Classic, you know, you get Wonder Woman in here. She's gorgeous looking like this. I really love the way she's drawn in this book. You get good facial expressions. Some people may not be a fan of David Finch's art. They've said in the past that they have made Wonder Woman look a little bit too young. You know, and I can see that. That's a good argument in here, but you got to give up to the details that goes into the artwork, into the splash pages in here. I think he does great work. Really shows great facial expressions, especially within the eyes. Here we get to see Wonder Woman in her new threads for the first time in this particular issue. We can see she's got these iron shoulder blades, and she's got these gauntlets that spring out swords within them and whatnot. So in this particular issue, yeah, we get to see her meet up with Donna Troy, and she tries to talk to Donna and says, you know what, it's not too late for you. You can do the right thing. You can change yourself around. So she goes, that's where she goes. She goes to Mount Olympus to visit Donna Troy in there. And then she visits some other friends. And then we get to witness her go to, again, to go to, I never say how to say his name, but hepatitis. And he tries to forge her, again, new costume, because it's her emerging from herself. She's growing as this warrior, and that's why she has the new outfit that she has, which I showed you earlier. So it was a pretty good story. And then what happens again throughout the end of this issue, she has to go out and try to save the day by, I guess, getting this bomb off the bridge and convincing this guy not to do this, that there's something to live for. And it's actually becomes like a formidable foe, and the guy disappears on her. And then by the time we get to the end of this particular issue, we find out that there's this one thing that can stop Wonder Woman, and it looks like it's a Pegasus in here. So again, I'm not too rich with the whole Wonder Woman and certain DC characters storyline from the past, but I did like it. I thought it was an interesting issue, and it was interesting to see, I guess, Wonder Woman evolve from a girl to a woman, and realizing now that she's able to, you know, handle all her responsibilities. So after reading this one, I gotta give this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Love the artwork, though. Probably my favorite thing about the book. All right, so let's see if we have any more comments. See if anyone else read Wonder Woman this week. So we have 7 comments now, and thanks guys for commenting. Let's see. Michael Martin's already said that I'm digging it. It wasn't much of a fan, but now he seems more relatable and human. I can get into that. And they're talking about that the Superman storyline so far. All right, so we'll keep going now, and we're going to go on to number 10. And so number 10, it's very fitting right now. So if you guys want to comment on the Superman, Wonder Woman, the whole Truth line, this was my number 10 book of the week. So this particular issue, I think, which one was one? This one was Peter J. Tomasi, and Jay Mendoza was the artwork in here. I thought this artwork was pretty solid in this particular issue as well, making Superman look really realistic here as much as they can. You know, really dark artwork, obviously, because they're flying through nighttime within this issue in here. It was cool to see Wonder Woman be at Superman's side, and here she is wearing the new costume. So I guess I would suggest reading Wonder Woman first through here. Through the other issue, to see how she gets that costume, and you get to see really Wonder Woman be at Clark's side, and I really kind of appreciate that. You know, a lot of people wasn't a fan of the Superman Wonder Woman type of relationship, but I see these guys, they really get along, and I think it's going well in DC. I don't have a problem with it. You know, a long time diehard Superman fans might be like, oh, Lois and Clark, they always have to stay together, but I like this relationship between these two. I think it's pretty solid in here. So I love seeing this issue, the introduction of it. You get to see the introduction of Superman and Wonder Woman, kind of like how they met. Which I thought was nice. It was a friendship forged, a love born, and you know, and then a new power realized, and then another taken away. So in a nutshell, it takes you to what Superman has gone through within the past couple of months. We've known he's got that solar flare. We've known that it's been taken away. By using it, his powers have been very minimalized. He has like maybe some super strength, and he can jump. So, and from what people are saying, he's basically a golden age Superman, where he's had very basic like powers. Very nice picture here of Diana and Clark together, just, you know, in bed with each other. And then we see that Lana Lang is in desperate need. There's a call out to Smallville, and we wind up seeing what happens with these two. They go to Smallville. Wonder Woman flies him over, and we can see that Clark is desperate to get to Smallville, and it doesn't matter how fast Wonder Woman's going. He's just like, just go. I don't care how, if you damage me or anything like that. He's like, I can take it, because he's not as strong as he once was. So you got to think, flying through the air, that's got to hurt you, right? You know, you're not as strong as you once were. And so they go to the actual house, and they figure that, you know, they're looking for stuff, and nothing's wrong, nothing's misplaced. And Clark is upset. He doesn't know where they're at. She's sitting there, you know, pounding against the wall, and shit's all flying all over there. And this Diana's like, yo, dude, chill. It's okay. We'll find her. And I love how, like, open Clark can be about Lana, how much she meant to him. And Wonder Woman's like okay with it. She's not jealous of it, not jealous of their relationship, you know, because she was the first one that really understood the powers, that he had powers. So she really gets that. And at first they feel like they have to go undercover and not expose like their identities. But when we get these wise people that were sitting on the bench that know everything about the town and saying that Clark and Diana could be this menace for Smallville and whatnot, Clark just like, that's it, forget it. He's like, we're costume, you know, identities, who gives a shit about them? I'm Clark. There's no reason to hide that anymore. And I realized that the house is missing. And I love this part right here, this one little panel where you see Superman just jumping from place to place. So I thought that was really cool. We find out that the farm is missing. His little hideout that he always had was still there. So I thought that was really cool. And by the time you get to the end of it, we find out that there's grave sites are being dug up. And I thought that was really cool. And I'm sitting there going, well, who's behind all this? And then at the end of it, you kind of get it ruined, because I really was like, really? I don't care about the Suicide Squad. I'm like, really? We got to throw them in there? And that's what drove the book down for me, was that cliffhanger. I was like, come on, the Suicide Squad, I don't want them involved in this book. I really wanted to see just Superman and Wonder Woman deal with this, because like you guys said, the Superman storyline really humanizes the character, and I think it's much more relatable that way. I really do. You know, Superman in his godlike form, where he has all these powers, I feel like it's not as relatable. So when you make him this way, I like Superman this way. I like him a lot more this way. And that's why I started reading the Superman title again. Now, Superman 41 comes out this week, and I'm interested to see where this goes. But this was an okay book. It's just the ending of it kind of just ruined it for me a little bit. So I'm going to give this one a 3.75 out of 5 stars. So this was okay. So, and that was, I think, our number 10, right? We got 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. And that was our number 10. So it did crack the top 10. So let me see what you guys thought this week of this particular issue. I just got reload comments. And let's see. So I got 9 comments now. Hopefully they load. And let's see. What's going on, guys? Greetings from Glasgow. So Dawn of the Walking Dead. That's the one who says hello, welcome. And then he says, Dawn of the Walking Dead, the Suicide Squad, really, they didn't need to be there, which I agree with you 100% there. All right. So that's the comments right now. And guys, in the comments also, please, if you guys want to leave me what your favorite books of the week were, go ahead and do that. You guys can leave your own countdown in the comments, and I can share them with everybody else. So, all right, so we're going to go on to number 9. And number 9 this week was Armor Wars issue number 2. Cool cover. We have James Rhodes as the Thor here. And we get to see Iron Man in the background. You get to see the chest plate being destroyed there. So quite interesting. What does this cover have to mean? I love the introduction to the Secret Wars books, as some of them have where everything takes place and what the cities represent. Makes you feel more a part of what's going on in the battle world, itself. In this issue, we found out that Spider-Man, the SPYDER Spider-Man, was killed. He got killed in the last issue, got this whole gigantic hole in his chest. And that's what we saw in the Squadron Sinister thing. And it was the Iron Man Thor. So who's killing these guys? And that's what we're still yet to be determined here. And it was pretty cool in this issue because you wind up seeing how the armor comes off, and then what happens to the individual when the armor is off. You get to see the process, the armor, they take it off, and then they automatically become decayed. So there's this disease in the world in Technopolis where this takes place, and as soon as that armor comes off, you just decay. So that's some disease, and we don't know how it's come or what happened or whatever it's been, but supposedly Spider-Man is the one that discovered it. And through this issue, you get to see that the female in this issue, and I forgot her name Kiri, I think it is, lost her boyfriend, and obviously she's upset and she's trying to hide her emotions. So you see the emotional aspect of this particular issue. And then you wind up seeing this like stealth guy in this armor who has a very thin line of armor, and then he tries to do damage in the, I guess it's the Stark facility, and then you wind up seeing all these weapons come up in the Stark facility, all these defensive weapons, and like the statue comes alive and grabs the guy, and it was like crazy shit. Like, look at this right here, this big ass hand comes through and tries to stop anything that's going on. So it's pretty interesting throughout the issue. And then by the time we wind up getting to the end, we find out that you don't find out that who or what's causing the problem, but they have the mystery, I guess, going on. I don't know. It's just weird to explain it, but I guess we got to find out somehow that Spider-Man knew what's caused all these problems. And one of the issues is that Tony Stark said in this issue, he was like, well, I had this dream that we were once not in the armor. There had to be a time when we weren't all wearing armor. So that was quite interesting there too. This series is pretty good. It's all right. If you read the half issue of Armor Wars from Toys R Us, Mark Bagley did the artwork, and the artwork was phenomenal in it. The artwork here is not as crisp and as clean and as detailed as I would like it. And when it has characters like Iron Man in here, and it has to do with a futuristic world that does with all this techno stuff, I feel that it needs to be much more detailed than this artwork. It seems to be a little bit blotchy. The line's not as crisp and clean. And when you have to deal with all that, I feel that that type of artwork is needed in here. It's an interesting story. I like it. And I can't wait to see what is causing this plague or this death and why all these people have to wear this armor. So that will be an interesting storyline to follow. So after reading this one, I gave this one a 3.75 out of 5 as well. So, all right. So let's see, we'll go on to any other comments. If you guys read Armor Wars, let me know what you guys thought of that particular issue. All right. So again, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. Got about 6 people. It's been fluctuating to 6 to 8 people, which is good. It's good different from last week, which I appreciate. All right, still got 9 comments on there, so that's good. Again, list your comics, your top comics of the week that you want to discuss there. All right, next this week was number 8, I think. Are we on 8? 12, 11, 10, 9. Yes, 8. And we go on to Justice League of America, issue number 1. Hefty book, hefty price, $5.99. That's right, guys. I got this cool cover. This is, they had 9 covers for this one, and this had to do with the Joker on there, and it has all the Justice League characters on this particular book. This book was a lot going on, and that's the one thing for me with DC. I don't know if I have a simple-minded brain, and but there's always a lot that seems like is going on in DC's comics all the time. And this very first issue of Justice League, they throw out this huge monumental story, going on in here. We find out that Superman is being brought to Earth, I guess, this different Earth that's just completely being disintegrated. And every time he gets brought back to Earth, he gets brought back to Earth dead. And there's these stones that are bringing him back to Earth. And I'm not sure what these stones are about. So what's going on in this particular issue is that we have, real quick, let me see what it is. Oh, there was this coffin. There was this coffin in here as well. And the coffin had a particular character in here. So what happens is the coffin winds up, excuse me, winds up being exposed, and it winds up having Parasite in there. And he winds up sucking all the energy from the Green Lantern to come back alive. And they do this huge monumental battle. He sucks up like the he sucks up the Speed Force, and he becomes this ginormous ass creature. And it was just like this epic battle that was going on between these guys. The artwork was really good in this issue as well. And these Green Lanterns is trying to fight him and whatnot. So it was a very huge battle between all the characters in here. But the other part of the storyline was Superman being brought in from these other Earth, and there's a pile of different Earth Supermans in there. Then you got Aquaman trying to have like these peace treaty with I guess with the land people, obviously with the Earth people. There was just a lot going on in this particular issue, and I thought that they throwed a lot of this into your face. And then at the end of it, we got this ending right here. And again, me not being a DC, historian, I wasn't sure who the great God Ryo was, or who he was. So if you guys want to throw that in the comments and see if you guys know who he is, or if he's a new character, I'm not sure. But this book was action-packed. This had a lot of story. If you're a fan of the Justice League, you're obviously going to like this because it has all the Justice League characters in there. Great artwork, but just a lot going on. I thought they threw a lot of it out there. So I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Solid read, solid read. Definitely go out and buy it if you're willing to go out and spend that money on that price tag there. So hold on one second. Got a text here. Okay, so let's check our comments and see maybe if you guys agree or disagree with me on this particular issue. All right, so I got 12 comments now. Let's see if they load. All right. So Comic Book Fan 1992 says Thor's was his #1 pick of the week. We'll see where Thor's falls on my list this week. We got that one. 2 minutes. JLA #1 is definitely in my countdown. So Dawn of the Walking Dead, like that particular issue. Michael Martin says, not entirely relevant, but I would like to see Doom use the Coliseum as punishment, not just send them to the wall, but use it like Death Race. Win so many races and you go free. I like the Coliseum thing. I think that thing is pretty awesome. So I like that. I like the Coliseum storyline and everything that's going on there. So there's a couple comments that are there. Guys, again, please put down your top comics of the week. I really want to hear you guys comics that you like the most this week. And if you have any information that you want to relay to me on certain characters or something that I missed, please feel free to put that in the comments. I'm never one to back away from, you know, something that I missed or don't know, because I always claimed in comics that I don't know everything. I surely don't, and I know things go over my head. I always just recommend comics to people what I think is a good comic to read. So, and that's always been my standard from day one when I started on YouTube like 4 years ago. So, all right, so we're going to go on now to the next comic, and we're going to go on to, I think we're at number 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, and number 7 this week is Deadpool's Secret Wars, issue number 2. Pays tribute to that Secret Wars cover where Hulk is holding up the mountain and all the other characters are beneath it. This comic was funny as shit, man. There's some funny stuff here. Colin Bunn is just hitting this book out of the park, and Matteo Lolli is the artist in this issue. Yeah, so I guess if you ever want to know how Deadpool looks during Battle World during this time, well, he looks like that typical 1970s porn stash guy. Just hilarious. And I love this artwork in here, because really what it does is it has that tone of 1984 as well, because you see it always flash back to the original Secret Wars, which is so funny. It's just so comical in there. But the artwork is really good. I love Spider-Man's facial expression in here. I thought it was really cool. And they had some good fight scenes in there too between the two characters. So that was really awesome in here too. But in this issue, you wind up finding out that, you know, why does Deadpool look like this? And you find that out at the end of the issue, why he looks like this, why he's not all, you know, cancer, all his skin's all burned and everything else. And in the beginning of this issue, you wind up seeing that he's fighting the Lizard in this issue. And the Lizard has this thing for the Wasp. And he's like, oh, the Wasp, I want the Wasp. He's like, I love the Wasp. And he's like, really? And so now you wind up seeing the X-Men coming up with a discussion of, you know, maybe we should team up with Magneto and he can help us during this war. And Spider-Man eavesdrops on the whole situation. And he's like, no way, you're going to team up with, he's like, you're going to team up with Magneto? He's like, no way. He's like, I'm going to let the others know. And the others are obviously the ones that are not mutants. So what happens is Deadpool goes and chases him. And it all has to do with, and it's funny because they come across all these shields, and the shields tell you the future of what's going on. And again, that's what happens in Secret Wars. It has their battle shields, just like what you see behind me here. And it was so funny because Deadpool was just like, he's just like, check out my shield. It tells everything what's going on in the future. He's like, you think you're the only mind reader here, Chuck? And he calls Professor Xavier Chuck. And it's so funny. You see the image of Deadpool sitting there in front of the fireplace, which I thought was really funny. And it just, you know, says funny lines in there like back off, cue ball. And it was just very hysterical, and I really liked it. And you wind up finding out that the reason why the Lizard likes the Wasp so much is because she helped his arm and whatnot. So it was just funny humor in this issue. And the most important thing, and the thing that I got the most out of this was, again, the reason why he got the way he looks, the way he looks like this normal human, is he wound up getting healed. He wound up getting healed by the character that was there. I forgot her name, but she healed him, and that's the reason why he looks. So I guess if Deadpool was healed, a normal human being, that's the way he would look, I guess, back in 1984. Got the stash, long blonde hair, and he's like, yeah, I think this relationship's going to last forever. And they like hold each other's hands and everything's all kumbaya. And then you see in the Shield in the future that, yeah, she becomes, you know, this old decrepit old lady. So just funny stuff. I like the issue. I like what it is. It's good humor. It's a lot of fun. You know, definitely not so serious as some of the other comics that are out when it comes to Battle World. It breaks that monotony if you're looking for of always serious books in here. So so this is Deadpool's Secret Wars issue number 2. I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. Fun read. Definitely go out, and I suggest that one for you guys. All right, so I'll go back to the comments and see if you guys wrote anything new. Again, please leave me your comments in the comments section. And I'm up to 19 now. Let's hope that they all loaded on here. So, so we had Thor's comic book fan 1992 said that Thor's #1 was pick of this week, and then Michael Martin said that his was mine too, along with Ghost Racers. Ghost Racers was a great read. That was last week's issues, and that was a phenomenal read. We talked about the Superman storyline, and let's see, we got the Doom story. Justice League was definitely on the countdown. JLA is like 50 plus pages, though I haven't read it yet, but I want to. I'm kind of worried that it's too much and too really to understand. Sounds like I'll need to read it a few times. I'm not 100% familiar with the DC universe. Like I said, read the book a couple times. Great fight scene there between Parasite and the Justice League. It really gets to see what Parasite's true power is about. It's the whole thing with Superman that seems a little bit complicated. And then the Atlantean thing with Aquaman is more of like a government situation of what's going on there. So it's 3 different storylines going on. It just seemed like it was almost too much. I didn't think they needed to do a 50-page plus book in that whole situation. So maybe they could have just done the Parasite thing and then introduced a Superman thing. Superman just felt like this whole epic event. It was like, it seemed like a totally separate storyline there. Kevin's Comics says, hey, and let's see, any other new comments? Let's see if we have any more. And it says, Ongo says, what do you think of a team or character appearing on almost every titles that week? You know, whatever, it doesn't bother me. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's fine. And then that's it for right now. Okay. And if you want to be more descriptive about the team thing, what do you mean in like Secret Wars or just in Justice League in general? Not sure if I'm getting that question correctly. But whether teams are all together this week or not, it's fine with me. All right, so now we'll go on. I think we're on to number 6. Yep, number 6. So number 6 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 46. I haven't read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a long time. I read it to, I think, issues number 16. The artwork got really bad. I dropped it. Decided to pick it up now, and I thought it was a good read. I heard that Donatello, he didn't die, but he got severely beaten to where he's like almost, he can't get out of, can't wake up, and they had to transfer his body. So I was like, wow, that seems pretty interesting. So let me pick that up. And so this seemed like a pretty good jumping point on there. And so I love Eastman's artwork. I think it's great. And I think if you do read Turtles, even though he doesn't draw the interior art, you have to get the cover that he does for the month. But in this issue, you wind up seeing Donatello get his brain and his memories all loaded up into Metalhead. And so he's just basically a robot now, and that's Donatello there. And he's looking over his body over here, and he sees that his body's just too severely beaten to wake up. So they still have his, they still have his brain in a robot, and at least they have their brother. And the cool thing about this particular issue is we get to see Raphael, you see different emotions here. Raphael's having a tough time dealing with his brother in this state that he's in. And you wind up getting to see certain situations that go on with Casey and his father. His father's like, oh, well, I'm not part of Shredder's gang anymore. He's like, we can be together. And for Casey, that didn't change his father. His father's still a drunk. So you get to see some storylines there with family, which I think is good because it keeps that title a little bit grounded there. How Casey struggles with his dad and the family dynamic. We wind up seeing that supposedly the Foot Clan was defeated. The Shredder is defeated. They think that he's dead. But Shredder's granddaughter now is still alive, or she's obviously alive, and she's taking a hold of the Foot Clan, and she's like, no more are we taking people from without the ranks. She's like, we're keeping within the ranks. We're going to keep it tight. We're going to, you know, run a tight ship, and we're going to get these turtles. We're going to get revenge for my grandfather's death. And then you get to see again some more of what's going on with Donatello in this particular issue, of how he is coping with his brain being in a robot body. He's processing all these information almost like he would be as if he was a regular turtle, but he doesn't have to, you know, I guess he's hungry, but he doesn't have to address it. It's just his brain tells him he's hungry. He's hurt in the back from his beating, but again, he doesn't have to address it because he's a robot. And it's just used to his brain being in that robotic body. There's a certain something else going on. I guess you're going to get introduced to some new villains that are going to happen. They come across this map. April does, and some other guy. And then by the time we get to the end of the issue, you wind up seeing that Shredder is alive, and he's with Baxter Stockman in the issue, and they're creating Mousers, and it's another company that they created. And just Shredder is still deep undercover here. And then you just throw in again with the Casey father storyline, and it looks like he's going to going after his own son again, otherwise known as the Purple Dragons. That's right. Good issue, lot of story. Again, if you're jumping onto this, you're going to be like, wow. But it was good, and the flow of the book was nice, so it didn't feel like you were really overwhelmed here. So I really enjoyed this issue. Love the artwork this time around, and definitely I'll be reading Turtles going forward here. So I'm going to give this one a 4.25 out of 5 stars. All right. So now we go on to number 1, 2, 3, 4, the top 5. That's right, the top 5 comics of the week. So if you guys want to put down your top 5 comics of the week now's the time to do so. And after I talk about this issue, I'll go back into some more comments. All right, so number 5 this week was Manifest Destiny, issue number 15. This is an independent book from Image Comics, done by the Skybound, Robert Kirkman's line. And this book is great, guys. This is during the Lewis and Clark era, excuse me, I think, which is very well done. And it's about these guys always going on, they're on this expedition to find, you know, different types of creatures. They go on these adventures, and they're supposed to study them. They've took criminals with them. And in this issue, you wind up finding that the crew is tired of following the Captain Lewis's lead, and they're tired of people getting killed. And Lewis just sits there and says, you know what, well, I'll fight anybody on the ship, and if I win, he's like, we're going to continue the expedition. So he winds up fighting this dude right here, and this guy starts kicking the crap out of him, right? Starts punching him left and right. He's going to get his ass beat. You think Captain Lewis is going to lose. He's going to prevail. And the next thing you wind up seeing in this book is there's a mallet on the ground. He winds up kicking the guy in the balls, okay, as you can see here. And then he winds up smacking him in the face with the mallet. And he winds up prevailing in the fight. And everyone's like, okay, well, that's fine. Well, I guess we'll continue your lead, Captain. And in the previous issue, they wound up capturing this weird bird. And they always do these studies. And you wind up finding out that the bird freaking talks. And the guy doesn't just talk. He winds up saying some weird and funny stuff. And you're just like, dude, this is insane what this bird does. And he says all this funny dialogue. And they're just like getting a kick out of it. They're like, the guys, they're just laughing. And, you know, the bird even says, you know, this guy should be your leader, which is the dog that is licking his private parts. I thought it was just so funny. In the last issue, one of the crew members wound up getting bit by the bird, and it's basically decaying his arm, and he's going to die because there's all this poison injected into him. And what happens is you find out that they promised to let the bird go in the future as long as they heal their friend. And in order to heal the friend, the bird urinates on the wound. And I was just like, oh my God, that is disgusting. But it acts as a cure, and it heals the crew member. So funny, so good. And as the story continues in the last issue, we get to see one of the bigger birds take away one of the crew members. And so they're trying to get information of the bird, and they find out that it's a huge race of these creatures, and there's this leader there. And you're just like, oh my God, that is so messed up. And the dude that they took away, it looks like they're going to eat him for dinner. I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. There's great character interactions in this book. It is so well done, and I really enjoy it. The artwork is well done too, because it takes place in that era, and it has like that old feel to it, and it's a nice, really well written, great flow to the book, nice tone, always leaves you with great cliffhangers. Reminds me of like The Walking Dead here. So after reading this one, I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Great book. It's a great book each and every week. Definitely suggest you guys go out and buy it. And I think it's $2.99. You know, I mean, $2.99, can't beat it. You don't see comics that, you know, anymore at $2.99. So if you can definitely get it, please purchase it. All right, so I got a couple more comments on here, which is 21. And let's see, we have Deadpool in the fireplace is a reference to the upcoming Deadpool comics. That's right. I know, because we all saw that picture on the internet on there, and that was from Kevin's Comics. And 3 more, and another one from Michael Martin. He just says, no more pizza for Don. Do you think he will be upset? I think if he can't physically eat pizza, I think he will be upset. So somehow he has to find out, you know, how do I eat pizza like in a robot form? You know, maybe they'll make a mechanical pizza for him. So, yep. And Rob Lucci says, is this live? And yes, Rob, it is live. You know, the countdown is live. It's like that afternoon, you know, lunch hour that if you'd have nothing to do at work and you want to eat some, you know, eat lunch and listen to the countdown, yeah, you can do that. Maybe it might be a little bit late for lunch, but nevertheless, I'm very happy that all you guys are watching. I have about 8 viewers watching right now. Great comments, and this is a fun time. I like doing the countdown this much. A lot better doing it this way, so get a lot more interaction. And again, guys, just taking a break real quick. If you guys are interested in being a co-host of mine on this show, every so often, not every week type of thing, but every once in a while, getting in a co-host in here to you know, sit side by side with me across from a computer screen here and talking about comics on Google Plus Live, and we'll do our you know, live show together. So I think it would be fun every once in a while to do. Just message me in the comments and let me know. All right, so going on now, we're going on to number 4. Number 4 this week was Old Man Logan, issue number 2. I like this issue, and I think Old Man Logan could be a lot better comic for me if I didn't have Andrea Sorrentino's artwork on here. As much as I love the artwork, I feel at the same time it hinders the book, because you can never get a true facial expression and real experience of what the character is going through in the book. And I think it takes you away from the comic instead of drawing you in. I think when it comes to action scenes and theme and scenes that you see in the distance, like themes or certain characters like that, for instance, like a Thor, I think it's pretty epic that way. Landscapes, I think it's really well done, but when it comes to getting that character's expression, it's just a little bit weak for me. This is pretty cool. I like this. This is an interesting way to do a paneling, because you get to see a Thor come in here and you see the Thunderbolt coming in there. So that's a really modern way of doing the paneling. But again, when you see certain facial expressions, it's weak for me. You get to see Wolverine come through in his quest to find out where this Ultron helmet or head came from. He interacts with a Thor. She zaps him. He falls into a different place. He comes across this great tiger here, does this crazy ass battle with this tiger, and winds up coming across Sabretooth in here. And he says he's one of the 4 horsemen. And what does the 4 horsemen always mean? Like Age of Apocalypse thing, apocalypse type of thing? I don't know. But then the next thing you wind up seeing is he winds up seeing his old X-Men friends that he supposedly killed a long time ago. And now he's tripping out. He's like, no way. He's like, I killed you guys. He's like, I killed you guys forever ago. And the next thing you see is you see Emma Frost back in his head. And she takes him to this place where they can talk. you know, without Wolverine going crazy. And he's like, how is this real? And even the X-Men are saying, well, can't be real. This Logan guy, he's like, he's out here to infiltrate our ranks. He's not here for our good cause. So the X-Men feel like they can't trust him either. So as the issue progresses, all of a sudden you wind up seeing that these guys wind up infiltrate, and Magneto gets pissed off, and he sits there and he's like, it's your fault. And he magnetizes him out throughout the freaking building, and he lands on the ground, and you wind up seeing Apocalypse making his appearance here in the Secret Wars. And it's like, oh, shit, damn, that's crazy, you know? So there's a lot of action there. I like the story, and I like the conversation that Emma had with Logan, trying to keep him calm. I like some of the humorous points in this particular issue when it comes to Logan being called Old Man Logan in the actual issue, and that he has a form of osteoporosis in there. I thought that was kind of funny too. But again, it's the artwork that takes it away from me a little bit. And so I got to give this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars too. It's great. It's a great book. I like it. It's just to get to that next level, that top tier. I wish the artwork was different. As much as I do like it, it takes it away from it at the same time, if that makes any sense to you guys. All right. So now we're going to go on to the top three. The number 3 book of the week. And this one goes to Miss Marvel issue number 16. Kamala Khan, great character. Probably hit it out of the park for a lot of Marvel fans out there. She's a very relatable character. And in this issue, the cover says what's happening in her physical state and emotional state. This is how she feels, because she just broke up with her boyfriend, Cameron, and this is how she feels emotionally on the inside. And what's going on here on the outside is what's happening to Earth. So it was a really awesome comic book this week. And what's happening here with Kamala was awesome in the beginning, before all hell breaks loose in this issue. You wind up seeing Kamala eating her life away when it comes to eating hot dogs, and they're called Doom Dogs, which I thought was really awesome. She's like eating 2 hot dogs, and she's like, oh, I better lay off, you know. And you wind up seeing that her stomach is full, and she's like gonna puke everywhere. And then all of a sudden, the whole world all breaks loose, like an apocalyptic setting. I love apocalyptic settings. The whole world's coming to an end, and you wind up seeing she goes into Miss Marvel, and she winds up finding different things about her powers, but she can't appreciate that because it looks like here you're experiencing the incursion of what's happening to Earth. That's the way it looks here. And it's just like, holy shit. So the next thing she winds up going to school, make sure that the shelter's okay and everything's in place. And she winds up going to being at home and seeing if everything's okay at home. And she winds up into her old boyfriend. And he winds up putting this Terrigen mist into I think it was her brother and whatnot, and he takes off, and he makes her feel really bad, just saying things about how you should be on the other side of the Inhumans, how you need to be this and how you need to be that, and really knows how to push her buttons to make her feel really lousy. And I thought that was a horrible thing, just horrible for him to do. And you know, Carmella makes sure that her parents are okay. Her parents weren't hurt, very serious. And we see Miss Marvel go out and do the best that she can, even if she has to single-handedly try to save the Earth. She goes out there and she is going to do it. And she tries to gather her senses because it is very overwhelming for her. But the next thing she does is she comes across her favorite superhero, and the one that she idolizes the most. And the expression on her face in this issue was awesome. And it was Miss Marvel herself, or Captain Marvel herself, in the black costume. And I thought that was great. And her face is just like, huh? What was that? Really great character moment there. And I love how Miss Marvel is. I think she's a great character, definitely very relatable, because you get to see her get her powers for the very first time in this series, and you've seen her develop her powers and develop as a character, and it feels like as the reader you've gone along for that ride. That's if you've read this series from the very beginning. If you haven't read it, go out and buy couple of these trades, and I think you'll be caught up very quickly. But this is a great book, and I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars as well, and is number 3 on this week's countdown. All right, so we'll check out the next comments here and see if we got any more comments coming down here. All right, so we got a few more, and got 25 comments. So Justin Pageant's on, and Justin, welcome. And he says, "What's up, Mike? Made it for the top 4. It's awesome. So welcome for the top 4, Justin. Glad you can be here for that." And let's see if we got a couple more. We got 20, 24 minutes, 13 minutes, 28, 20, 30. Might have gotten a couple more and they haven't loaded. Oh, and we got Tim. And he says, "Haven't read all my books this week. Was a really busy week. A lot of really good books came out this week, though." That is correct. There's been some good books. And I must say, when it comes to these Secret War titles, I feel that a lot of the Secret War books, in my opinion, have been very good reads for the most part. There's been a couple that haven't been great, but for all the amount of books that are out for Secret Wars, the quality of writing has been solid. So, and that's my opinion there. So if you guys want to state your opinion, yeah, let me know. All right, Deadpool rules, awesome. All right, so we're going to go on to our top 2 comic books of the week. And number 2, guys, this week, and I thought this was good. And I haven't been a huge Runaways fan, never read much of Runaways in the past, but I like this book. And this was Runaways issue number 1. Cover, you get to see Molly there. Hayes just sitting there giving me the peace sign saying, "Peace, yo." You know, I thought that was pretty awesome. Bucky Barnes is in this particular issue as well, so that was neat. And this book was cool because you get to learn over that there's been the Victor Von Doom Institute of Gifted Youths. So it's like their version of the Xavier's Higher Learning or whatever mutant type of thing. And you get to learn that you get to go to this school and you become part of the Doom elite. But if you don't pass the final exam, you wind up getting expelled or you leave the school and you could possibly die in the future. So there's like no pressure, you know, you're either high up there or low down on the totem pole. And in this issue, the cool thing at what they do in here, unlike Squadron Sinister, is they introduce every character, but they do it slowly throughout the book. And not only did you get to know the character's name, but you know their code name, their powers, their domain, and some fun fact about the character. So right away you feel connected to the character. And whenever a book takes the time to do that, especially in the world of Battle World and in Secret Wars right now, I think it's genius to do that, just to get the character familiar with the character, and you want to read it going forward. You get to see Amadeus Chew, you get to see Molly in there, you get to see Jubilee in there, and they made it even a question mark in there too about, you know, a vampire question mark, and Pixie's in here, Cloak and Dagger's in here, so you get to see all kinds of different characters in here, and they're all in school, and they're all doing battle against each other, trying to get ready for this final exam, and they have to team up and get into teams. And what happens is this is cool artwork too. I really like the artwork. It was fun seeing some good facial expressions. A little sketchy at times, but it was okay. And then you get to see the character interactions between these two, because when they were practicing doing their fighting, you wind up seeing that they wind up getting in this big fight in school, and they're all fighting against each other. And Molly Hayes wanted to join this Night Witches club, and Jubilee's like, "No, you're too young. You're like 11. You're like, you still drink juice boxes." And she's like, "Yeah, so?" And she's like, "I like them. They taste good, you know?" So there's good character interaction there. You get to see Scar in here as a Hulk. Bucky Barnes is the Winter Soldier. He's like the glorified hall monitor, which I thought was so funny. And he winds up throwing them. They all have to go to detention. And they were being held in detention, and if they don't register in time for the final exam, they're going to get failed and they're going to expel. So Amadeus Chew winds up creating this like computer chip, and he puts it in the bot's back, and he releases them from detention, and they're like, "Jailbreak!" And so they all break from school. It's just really great character moments in there, and they wind up signing up for their exam, but they all got to be a team with each other, which is funny. But behind the scenes, you see what's going on in the school. And you wind up seeing Dr. Doom on here, and he's talking. He's like, "What's going on with the school?" He's like, "Why are there people busting out?" And they're like, "Oh, we gotta get rid of the robot that was interfered with." And the person that's headmaster behind the school, and they feel that the characters should fail, is Valeria from FF. And I thought that was awesome because she's just like, I don't think they should pass their final exam. Do you, Father? And obviously her father in Battle World is Dr. Doom. And I was just like, wow, that's cool. And they give her a little, little bio there on the bottom of the page, and it just sits there. Codename none, powers none, domain domestat, fun fact, headmaster of Doom Institute, cold calculating, pocket-sized genius. And that was just a great ending. And this really exceeded my expectations. I didn't know what to expect from this book. It was really a lot of fun. And they did it the right way. You have a lot of characters in here. Shit, throw in some bios, get readers familiar with these characters, and you can be on board with this one. And some good humor in here, good action, a little bit of everything. It's really close to being my pick of the week. But it got number 2. And this got 4 3/4 stars. So before we go into that number 1 book of the week, we'll check on some more comments if I got any more, and then we'll go into it. So we got 9 people watching, which I think is pretty good for a afternoon show where people could be at work and doing other things. So I think this is fun. All right, so we got 31 comments in here. So let's see if I got any of the new ones that showed up in here yet. Couldn't read a lot of new issues from Secret Wars this month. What do you recommend? Well, definitely Secret Wars. Runaways is number 1, just came out. I think that was a really good issue. Armor Wars is good. Renew Your Vows from Spider-Man is a really good series. What else is another one that was really good that ties in nicely? I have to think about it offhand because there's so much that we have read. So there's a lot of things out there. Let's see. I thought it was Bucky's left arm that was robotic, or am I wrong? Only thing I didn't get about this book other than that Runaways was a good book. They could have missed. It's very easily that they misdrawn the arm. I'm not sure because I've always wondered that in The Walking Dead. There was times where Robert Kirkman said in The Walking Dead that they drew Rick's missing arm wrong because it's the way the paneling is looking at. So interesting stuff there. Let's see. 2 minutes. Marvel and DC changed too much. Bring back the original universe. You know what? Camel76, thanks for writing in. I love the original Marvel universe. Now, DC universe, I only read like Green Lantern stuff and Kyle Rayner stuff. And Marvel universe, I love it. I love the original universe. It just has that nostalgic feel to it. And, sometimes you just got to go with modern day comics and what they're doing, keeping open eyes to things, and you'll enjoy the stories. And you know what? Always those classic stories will always be there for your enjoyment to read, because it's always goes back years and years where you forget about certain stories or you want to reread them, and you can re-enjoy them at your leisure. The old Marvel universe will always be there, and you always can go back and revisit. But I understand why they change things, because you have to keep things fresh and new. And I get it, and yeah, they got to make money. But, they got to keep it modern. So as much as I like the old universe, I get why they do the new stuff too. Let's see if I got any other comments right now. Everything else about an hour ago, 19 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. A lot of people from Comics Amino in the comment section and viewing really awesome stuff, guys. Great. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to follow me on Comics Amino, I'm always on there, checking my stuff out there, putting my reviews on there too. But yeah, this is fun. Again, I'm enjoying it. All right, so this is it. So we're going to talk about the number 1 book of the week. You guys put in the comments below what your favorite book of the week was. I'll name it out to everybody. And if there is any other things that you want to discuss with me, maybe a comic that you want me to recommend for you, anything, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll answer the questions once we're done with this countdown. All right, guys, going on to my #1 book of the week, and this book just reminded me of a series from last year that we all read, a mini series, and it had that certain feel to it. And this was Secret Wars, Thor's issue #1. This book was great. This was Jason Aaron who wrote this book, and he wrote, I'm pretty sure he did Original Sin, and if he did, this was him all over it, because it just reminded me of that feel, and it was so good. The character interactions in this book were phenomenal. I really enjoyed it, and that's what made it. It made it feel like Ultimate Thor and Beta Ray Thor were like partners for life. You know, they were detectives forever, and you could tell that they were doing this job for the longest time, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the way this book opens up, and the artwork in here was good. Chris Sprouse did a really nice job. Color artist Marte Garcia did a nice job. Here we get to see, I'll show you some pictures here. We get to see Beta Ray on there, and then you get to see, again, Thor. Really well done. Let me see if I can get some other good pictures in here. There's a lot of procedurals going on in here. Yes, this 2-page spread in here, this was nice. Beta Ray on there. This was just such a gorgeous book to look at. And not a huge Thor fan myself, but I love the way this book was written. This could have been on like a TV show. It was so awesome the way it was drawn. But this issue, they come across this murder, and it's a murder of 5 women. And they all come from, you find out that they all come from a different domain, but it's the same woman. And, you know, in the beginning of this issue, you wind up seeing this rookie Thor, who his name is like, oh yeah, they call me the Thor the Green. Ultimate Thor's like, yeah, I bet they do. And they all make fun of each other, all the Thor Corps guys, and I thought it was so funny. And they wind up trying to solve this mystery, and we wind up finding out that that they got to solve who killed these women, and we get to see again more great character action between the Thors, making fun of each other, which was fun. There's this story with the Ultimate Thor about how he killed these 13 Hulks, and the number keeps getting greater and greater. They come across these ghost writers in here that maybe thought that could have done these murders, but it wasn't them. So they bring them to the Coliseum, which was really awesome in here as well. And it shows that there's more Ghost Riders maybe to come in the Ghost Rider series or the Ghost Racer series. And whenever there's a case that's open, it's called a man thing, and it has to be, the case has to be closed very quickly. And if it's not closed quickly, what happens is the Thors are no longer worthy of their hammers, and they will not be Thors anymore. So what happens is we get to see Odin here, who is obviously like the district attorney guy. He's the guy that sits there and goes, listen, you need to solve this case or your shit's going to be stripped away from you. And he's like, okay, fine, we'll get it taken care of, you know. And we wind up seeing that forensics fog is behind the forensics aspect of everything. This was a great procedural show. I was like, this is awesome, you know. And they wind up drinking, and they're trying to find out what's going on. And Beta Ray winds up going to this back alley, and he winds up going across, and he winds up going to Thor or Loki. And Loki's like this homeless guy, and he's like, oh, I got the information that you need. You know, it's out there for you. And he's like, you know, he's like, do you want to hear it? And he's like, yeah, well, of course I want to hear it. Next thing you wind up finding out is that Beta Ray goes missing, and Ultimate Thor winds up coming across. And that's a spoiler if you guys didn't read this yet, but just be prepared that he winds up getting the information, that name that was so important that caused these murders. And the murder was Jane Foster, which is the new goddess of thunder. And you're like, dude, no freaking way. We just got revealed that Jane Foster is the goddess of thunder, and now she's already pitted as the one to be the evil one. So it was just insane. And right away, you know, Ultimate Thor just does the battle cry, no, you know, and that's how it ends with the cliffhanger there. But everything about this book was really great. The character interactions were good. The artwork was good. The cliffhanger was good. And even though, like, you would think that, you know, Goddess of Thunder, Jane Foster, is on this cover, and she's been the focal point of Thor for the longest time. You know what? When I was reading this, I was so involved with the story that I didn't even think it was her that was behind these murders. It may not still be her. It's just a name. But the thing is that I was so involved with the character interactions, how the different Thors were messing around with each other, how they were so involved with the case, you know, everything involved it. I wasn't really thinking of that mystery. It was great. The flow of this book was phenomenal, and definitely a pick of the week. So if you're looking for a title that, you know, you want to read for Secret Wars, this is it right here. This is a really good one. Also, 2099 is a good series as well. I really enjoy that one. 2099 is a series that I feel that moving forward can continue after Secret Wars. So really good stuff. So guys, there was your #1 book of the week. Let me see the comments below before I leave. We leave you guys for the day. See if we got any other comments. So we got a few more. And so let's see. We got 40 minutes, 36 minutes, 11 minutes, 5 minutes. Could we talk about the upcoming Marvel movies? Marvel movies coming up. We have Ant-Man coming up. That's the one that's coming up soon. You know, the new movies that are coming out in the near future. Not going to go into depth about them right now. Again, this is mainly for the comics that I talk about, but I am excited for those particular shows. If you guys, you know, want to talk about more media stuff, I have my own group channel called Comic Frontline, where we talk a lot about comics, movies, media, and things like that. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's called Comic Frontline Live. Let's see if I got anything else. Is Flash the fastest speeder in all of comics? I think that's a debatable argument, but I think probably a lot of people would agree with you that maybe Flash is the fastest one there is. Just like Hulk is the strongest one there is. Rob says, I am 15 years old, can't buy too many comics a month. What do you recommend? Well, Rob, depending on what you can buy, you know, it's really an experimental thing. What do you like? Do you like Marvel? Do you like DC? Do you like independent comic books? It's based off of what you want to when you're interested. If you like Spider-Man, go ahead, try Spider-Man. If you like Batman, go ahead and do that. Right now, as I can say, this is a good time to buy comics because the universes are kind of starting from scratch again. We're getting Marvel, who is going to be the all new, all different Marvel. So after Secret Wars is over, it's a good time to jump on comics. You can check out, you know, the new #1 books, see which ones you like, and then cut out from there. You know, same with DC. DC's changing their status quo with a lot of heroes when it comes to Superman and Wonder Woman. They're going in different directions. Green Lantern, Green Arrow, same thing. You know, check those out. Independent books, there's always new independent books coming out. I'm a fan of The Walking Dead. You know, that's independent book. You know, Saga, Chew, you know, things like that. Those are good independent books that I always recommend to reading. There's so many books out there. There's just a lot. And you have to just take your time and see what you like to read the most. Do you like mystery? Do you like action? What matters to you in a comic? Is it the artwork? Is it the story? There's so many different things. You know, we all have different tastes. But this countdown that I do each and every week is maybe helps you do or make a decision on what comics to buy. That's my catchphrase. You know, I'm here to help you make decisions on what comics to buy. Don't go by my saying all the time. You know, I'm not going to always be right. I'm not going to sit there and say, I like this, you're going to like this. It's just a suggestion. And because I read so many books. So Thor's was my #1 pick of this week. If you like Thor, you might like this book. Okay. everyone has different opinions and everyone will say different things, but go out there, buy what you want, and just experiment, and you're going to like what you like. And that's my honest, true advice to you out there. So let's see if I have one more check on any more comments. And let's see, it's loading. It's loading. So let's see here, guys. One last one, I think, if I can find it. All right. 14 minutes ago. 15, 8, 2 minutes. And we have someone from Da Mexican. He says, greetings, everyone. So welcome. So yeah, guys, so there you have it. There is the countdown for this week. You've seen the worst, you've seen the West, the best, you've seen all the other stuff in between. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you want to be, again, a future co-host on this show and you want to do the countdown with me on Google Plus and have a cool conversation as well as talk with the viewers out there, let's go ahead and do it. And guys, as always, thank you for taking the time and watching the countdown. And this has been a great show. And fans, until that next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And fans, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. See you real soon. Bye.